Hey y'all, my name's Audrey Marie and hope y'all are having an amazing day. Welcome back to my channel. Today I will be starting the Covet book. It is the third book in the Crave series. Crave and Crush had such a massive cliffhanger, so I've been reading it back to back. I'm so glad this series is finished and I'm loving every single moment of the books I've read so far. Last night I finished the second book in the series. I finished Crush and I literally sprung up out of my bed and had to get into this book because of how that book ended. Hudson is back alive and not in Grace's head no more. So this is going to be a different vibe because he is actually flesh and bones. But it left off him saying that Grace is his mate because Jackson and Grace's mating bond got destroyed by Cole before she went in and done her trial to be part of the circle. I did already start a little bit of it last night because I could not, just to get into the book and start reading it so I could take the physical book with me down to my hometown. I might not have any time, but I wanted to bring a physical book just in case there's like a moment or so that I can sit down and read. And I also have the audiobook too, so I can pull that out whenever I want as well. But this book starts off where they're starting the memorial for Xavier. He did get killed in the last book, sadly. I really liked Xavier, so I'm glad they didn't just gloss over the fact or just like mention that there was a memorial. They actually showed how sad it's been since he passed away and how it's affecting Macy. And then it time jumps to 3 weeks later and it's still affecting all of them, but they're slowly getting back to some normalcy after everything that went down. It's getting closer to Grace graduating, and I guess there's going to be a coronation after she graduates to be part of the circle since she's the first gargoyle to be born in 1,000 years or so. So she's on the circle now because she completed the trials that Hudson and Jackson's parents made her go through the challenge to be part of the circle. She didn't die, thankfully, from Hudson and Jackson's father's fight that had venom. Nobody survived it, so I'm glad she survived it because that was also some stressful moments at the end of the book, and somehow Hudson knew how to save her. I'm at chapter 8. I'm about 30 pages in, and she's dealing with the mating bond with Hudson now being in effect while she's being in a relationship with Jackson without the mating bond. And in the ending of the last chapter, it seems like he broke up with her. He full-on broke up with her. He recognizes how hurtful it is for Hudson to see her and Jackson together. So he had to break it off. And this is the part where I want to know what was going on while she was stoned for 4 months because Hudson was in her mind. And it seems like they got really close during that time frame. But she just doesn't remember any of it. I want to know so much of what went on between the two of them while they were in their mind. Because Hudson makes references to things she showed him, and she's always stunned every single time he mentions something that's like really personal to her, and he wants her to remember. I probably won't be able to read all that much this weekend. I'm excited to get into this one. I'm ready to continue and be in this world even more. I did read a little yesterday after I got back because I was not feeling good, so I just kind of sat down and read. I got to page 76 last night, so I got a little further into it, and I'm enjoying it so far. I'm not that far into this one, so I don't really have too much to say about it yet. It's just there's a lot of stress between the two boys because Jackson broke up with her because of her new mating bond with Hudson that snapped in place in the last book. And then Jackson doesn't want Hudson to be in a tough spot and in pain constantly because of her and Hudson having the mating bond now. So he broke up with her, but Jackson still loves her and she loves him still. Seems like Hudson's been doing a bit of research on mating bonds, and threw the question out to Grace regarding the colors of the mating bond that was between her and Jackson, because it was, I believe, a braided green to black mating bond, while the one she now has with Hudson is just a solid, strong color. So the thought of the mating bond being messed up or wrong between Grace and Jackson got thrown out there, so that's intriguing. I think Grace is planning on taking Hudson and Jackson to the bone letter to get more info on the spell that she gave Jackson in the first book. I love the banter between her and Hudson. It's so great, even though they're not on the greatest of terms with one another. I need some more time to sit down and read this to get into the depths of the story. I'm ready to keep going. So I finally got the physical copy of Crush to come in, so I can add that to my collection of books I got and put it with Crave, so I can have them together now. And then I got 2 more books in the mail. They are both books I've read before, but it's been a good while since I've read these books. The first one of this duology came in whenever Crush came in, so that is Carrier of the Mark by Leah Fallon. I read this book years ago. It's like 340 pages. It's not that long of a book, but this book has been on my mind for a while. I just want to see if it lives up to my love for it from whenever I read it the first time. So I got this one, and then today the second book of the duology came in, so I have Shadow of the Mark as well. But I'm a little sad. This one came in really damaged. Like, look at that. Fully bent. It was fully bent back in the packaging. So I'm really sad that now I have a massive crease down the back of this book, but I'm gonna try to get it as flat as possible. There's always gonna be some damage to it. Such pretty covers, even though I normally don't like actual humans on my covers, but this one, it kind of works because you can't actually see their face, so it works. So I've been reading off and on now, and I'm at page 185 or 183. They went to the bone letter. We find out that the mating bond that was between Grace and Jackson was manufactured by her. So that's how she had a spell to get rid of the mating bond between the two of them, because she manufactured it herself whenever Grace and Jackson were younger. She feels bad for the way he was treated growing up. She recognizes that there was some flaws in the way she raised him, so she wanted to do the right thing. Hudson and Grace had this cute moment where they came back from the bloodletter, and Hudson fixed her a grilled cheese sandwich, even though, of course, since he's a vampire, he doesn't know how to cook. His entire diet is just blood, so he had to Google how to make a grilled cheese sandwich for Grace, and supposedly he did a phenomenal job. That was really sweet of him to do that, because he's trying to take care of her. I loved the scene when they were on their way to the bloodletter that Hudson picked out some wildflowers for her. That was adorable, and that was just a cute, very scenic, heartwarming moment between the two of them. I really enjoyed that. Grace asked Hudson how he felt about the mating bond. She asks him, "Did you choose me?" Hudson responds with, "How could I not want to be mated to my best friend? I've known you were incredible from the first day we met." I literally took a photo of this because of how incredibly sweet that was between the two of them. I loved it. And then he wanted to kiss her. She paused Hudson and was like, "Can we take it slow?" He smiles and whispers, "Sure, Grace." I need to tab that because of how much I love that quote. It was just incredibly sweet of Hudson. There's a lot of hostility between all the groups now. It's really bad, real bad. Everybody's fighting one another. So they got to figure that out. And originally they were going to go for the crown to break the bond between Hudson and Grace. And then Hudson and Jackson's father, Cyrus, has a bounty to arrest Hudson and send him to this magical jail. I guess mated pairs can't be separated from one another for very long, or they'll go insane or something. So, of course, Cyrus wants to arrest Hudson, and then Grace will probably want to go with Hudson into this prison. So that's probably the plan of Cyrus going forward. They're all worried about it. Jackson is trying to help Hudson and Grace because he doesn't want to see his brother and Grace in trouble or sad or heartbroken. It's just a little slow at the moment. I am only 183 pages into this book, and it's almost a 700-page book. I'm not surprised it's a little slow at the moment. I am enjoying it. I do love the characters. I just want the story to finally pick up. Grace is trying to graduate, so she's got a lot of homework to do. She's trying to not have issues with Hudson and Jackson, even though she literally almost jumped on Hudson in front of everybody because she wanted to make out with him. And then Hudson now has the looming doom of if he leaves campus, he might get arrested. So there's that issue. But I'm enjoying this book. I'm gonna keep reading. So it's now Wednesday night, and I've made a decent dent in this book. I'm probably about halfway through this book. I'm on page 360. They have done a lot. They went to the City of the Giants, and Hudson and Grace's relationship throughout the past 360 pages have just constantly grown and flourished. When they were at the Giant City, he bought her a promise ring, and he made a promise to her. We don't know what that promise is. I hope we find out eventually what that promise is. I'm so unbelievably curious. It better end up being told at some point. The mate of the giant who made the cuff for the unkillable monster. Oh my god, I feel so bad for her and him, both of them. He's stuck in the jail that Hudson possibly is going to be going to. I don't like Cyrus, obviously, because that's who is wanting Hudson to get arrested, and then also wants Grace to go with him once he's arrested. I feel so bad for Jackson. He doesn't deserve what the blood letter did to him and Grace with the manufactured mating bond. I feel so bad because it like destroyed him, but it destroyed both of them in the moment. Then Grace got a new mate right after. Her mating bond with Jackson just got destroyed, but Jackson doesn't have another mate. He got destroyed by it. But then he's also getting to watch Hudson and Grace's relationship just flourish and develop. I feel so bad for him because it seems like he's lost all his love, his warmth that was there whenever him and Grace were together. But I'm also happy for Grace and Hudson to find one another. Where I'm at in the book, they are in the Dragon Court in New York City. Hudson got put in the dungeon by the Dragon Queen. And then the Dragon Queen had some beef with Grace that needed to be dealt with. So they dealt with that. Hudson got released, and now they enjoy the Wyvern Horde, and that was cool. Grace became a millionaire because of the gifts she got from that. Hudson is just so sweet. He says such swoon-worthy stuff, and every single time she's like amazed by something, she's like, oh, that's pretty. He agrees, and then she realizes he's looking only at her. Or whenever they were trying to get Hudson to take one of the Horde items, he looked at Grace and was like, I have everything I need. I know my opinion of Hudson was terrible in the first book. He's grown on me, but we only knew so much in the first book, and now we're getting to see Hudson on a more personal level. And it's absolutely great to see how the friends that Grace has welcomed Hudson with open arms. Yes, they are still apprehensive at times about him, but they've been slowly growing trust regarding Hudson. It's so heartwarming seeing how whenever he was getting arrested by the Dragon Queen, all his friends all standing up and being like, no, you're not getting him. You'll have to go through me before you get to him. And he was just so shocked by how he actually has people around him that are willing to sacrifice themselves or stand up with him at this point, because he had such a bad history with his parents and everybody surrounded him before he died that it's just a shocker to his system, and he doesn't know how to take it. It's just great to see how everybody welcomed him, and now he's truly having people in his life that actually care for him instead of just being on his own. It took about 300 pages for Hudson to finally kiss Grace. So it took a while, and I'm only 360, and it was the night of the Wyvern Horde, and oh my god, I was blushing, like quite literally. I love the two of them together, they're so sweet. I'm finally happy Grace is trying to get to know Hudson more, like on a deeper level, because he literally was like, Grace, you know me. You just forgot. You've made yourself forget because I told you literally everything about myself in the 4 months we were in Stone with one another, and that's how I know everything about you. But now she has amnesia still and doesn't remember a single moment of it. So she's finally being like, tell me something about yourself. And I'm happy that she's finally asking the necessary questions that Hudson has been trying to get her to ask. She hasn't asked what the promise he made to her with the promise ring was, but I have a feeling that's going to get asked at one point. Hudson helps Grace out. He knows stuff, but he waits for whenever she's ready to ask the questions and get more information. He lets her dictate whenever she gets the answers that she's been looking for from him. Hudson is so great because Grace gets overwhelmed really easily, so he's okay with her taking her time, and whenever she's ready to ask the important questions that he ends up having the answers for, she finally then has the time to embrace whatever her question is and also his answer. And it's really sweet that he does that for her, and he knows that she has a lot of power, and he just doesn't underestimate her. And there was also a moment when one of the giants sniffed Grace and was like, ooh, I smelled the gargoyle. But you're also something else, like you're half gargoyle, half something else. I smell something really ancient with you. And I want to know what else she is, like what her mom was. What is her other half? I want to know what her other half is, because her dad was a warlock. Her mom was supposedly human, but then somehow Grace becomes gargoyle. Was her parents not actually her parents? Was she adopted or something? I'm just so intrigued as to what Grace's storyline is that she hasn't figured out yet. She needs to figure it out because I'm so unbelievably curious. I'm also glad Grace and Flint finally got into it regarding consequences of your actions, because she finally threw out her opinion regarding Flint trying to kill her in the past whenever it was bringing up how Hudson killed his brother. I'm so glad they finally went at it between one another. I hope and pray that they get over it at this point, because it's going to be a constant issue, and I completely understand because he just kept trying to kill her whenever she wasn't the issue. It was always Leah. It's going to be a fracture in their friendship probably for a good while. I hope this is the end of it because I don't want it to keep festering, but I'm glad Grace finally threw it out there to Flint and was like, dude, you're being a hypocrite. You need to see both sides of the coin and not just your side. You need to see both sides of it to get the full picture of what you're talking about. It's Thursday night, and I have been doing so much reading of this today. Since the Wyvern Horde, so much has happened because I have like an hour and a half left of this book. I'm at 618 and the last page is 680. So I have less than 100 pages left. So much has happened. They finally graduated, which is so happy for them. But right after they graduated, they got arrested. And when I say they, I mean Hudson, Grace, and Flint all got arrested. And we weren't expecting Flint to get arrested. We only knew Hudson definitely was getting arrested. And Grace had the possibility of following him since Hudson is Grace's mate. And then we come to find out Flint also got arrested because he tried to kill Grace. It's not that he killed her, it's because he tried to kill her numerous times. So this entire book so far, Grace constantly has anxiety or panic attacks, and Hudson thankfully helps her through it. So she started to have an attack while in jail, and Hudson helped her through it. It warmed my heart that he was willing to do that for her. And when she went to say, I'm sorry to Hudson, and he was like, no, don't say sorry about that. You have nothing to say sorry for. That was such a sweet moment between the two of them. It sucks that she has those attacks, but it also makes sense for everything she's going through and everything, all the pressure she's got onto her. Them being in jail was rough. It was cool seeing Grace stand her own against the darkest and baddest witch coven in the jail, and she like got so much money from them just from playing a little simple game that she happened to practice when she was younger and figure out how to actually win the game. So that was a cool instance where she could stand her own and even got like double what Hudson made. I felt so bad for Hudson, Flint, and Calder because they were going into their mind for like a week straight to try to repent for everything they've done, and they drew it the entire time they were there, every single night, and normally that never happens. So obviously Cyrus pulled some strings for them to go through everything they did and suffer as much as they did. I'm so glad they were able to get with Calder and Remy was honestly really cool. It was fun listening to the actress doing a British accent for Hudson, a New Orleans accent for Remy. So it was fun listening to that and being more immersed into the story. They really haven't talked about the promise Hudson made to Grace with the promise ring that she got from the Giant's Town. I still want to know what that promise is. I'm so curious because the blacksmith giant they went to find in the jail gave a promise ring to his mate, and that ring was burning her because he couldn't keep up with the promise that he was making to her. So I'm curious as to what the promise Hudson made to her, and if there's going to be a point where he can't do what he promised to her. I was really upset with Grace whenever she started telling Hudson, save yourself, go without me, you gotta save yourself. I was kind of getting mad with her because she went through so much in the past 2 books, and just fighting 2 giants, that was what she was like, oh, I can't do it now. Are you kidding me, girl? You've dealt with so much. And yes, I know you didn't have your gargoyle form, you were literally a human, but you've gone through so much. Why are you giving up now? You are so close to getting out of this jail. You've gone through so much to be where she is now. And she just decides, Hudson, save yourself. I can't continue. Girl, what? I'm glad Hudson didn't baby her at that moment, and like, it was a little rude, but she needed it. It was a kick in her butt, and she needed it. I'm glad Hudson finally was like, girl, get your stuff together, and we're getting out of here. You're not dying. I'm not giving up on you. I'm finally glad he told her how it is. And like, that's a constant thing between the 2 of them, so I'm glad it didn't just end there where he started babying her when she was like, I'm done. The chandelier thing where she almost died from a chandelier came full circle, where Grace and Hudson killed the 2 giants with chandeliers. So, which that was kind of disgusting, and Grace getting covered in blood of dead giants was also disgusting to think about. I don't do great with gore, blood, ugh. So that was kind of disgusting. I would have reacted the same as Grace. So her actions at that point where she was like, get it off, get it off, get it off, I would have been the exact same way too. I probably would have passed out if I was Grace, honestly. I don't do well with gore, any blood, shots, needles, nothing of the sort. So her reaction to getting doused in blood makes complete sense. But they got out. I'm glad she finally got out. She helped Remy get his powers that his mom kept telling him about. She has a cool tattoo now. I want to Google this tattoo she has on her arm now because it sounds so cool. And just imagining the tattoo glowing with Remy's power, sick. And it was nice seeing that Remy's like, hey, we're gonna cross paths again, so don't worry. And then also when they went in to get that tattoo, the tattoo artist was like, oh, I know, I already have your tattoo drawn up. And they're like, what do you mean? Like, no, you don't have it drawn up. And she's like, oh, Remy, your mom came in like 12 years ago. I already drew it up. So right now, with the last like less than 100 pages I got, they're racing against the clock to get to the unkillable beast or the gargoyle to get him untrapped so they could possibly get the crown to help Jackson. I'm so glad Grace finally came full circle and told Hudson that she loved him. It was kind of funny just seeing where he was like, I know. And she was like, what do you mean, you know? She was like, it's like, I knew. I was just waiting for you to catch up. Like, that was such a funny and sweet moment between the 2. So I'm gonna hunker down, get in bed, put the earbuds in, listen, and read the rest of this book. So Friday morning, I finished this last night and went to bed right afterwards. It did leave off on a cliffhanger. What a shocker, right? So this book wrecked me. I was in tears. I bawled my eyes out. I'll just say that. It was an emotional roller coaster, and I had all my feels taken from me in this book. The ending is a ball of roller coasters. Thankfully, Grace was able to save some of the people in the ending of this book. I'm glad Jackson got his soul back. I'm glad Nuri was able to save him. So now Nuri doesn't have her dragon form, which might be a problem in the future. But now Jackson is actually alive and he has his soul completed, and that's part of the reason they were going after the crown too. Besides trying to beat Cyrus, it was to also save Jackson's soul because he was about to die. He was about to lose himself. I'm glad he was able to live and survive. I bawled my eyes out whenever he was dying. It was so sad. I know there's 3 more books of the series, and I figured Grace wasn't gonna die because obviously she's the main character in these books, but I didn't know if Jackson was gonna survive. I was a mess last night trying to finish this book. I'm glad Nuri was able to revive him. I feel bad for Flint because he saw Jackson die. He also lost Luca, and then one of his legs is now cut off. I'm really sad that Luca died. I really liked Flint and Luca together. They were so sweet with one another. It was hard to see how both Macy's lost someone in the previous book in Crush. Now Flint has lost someone in Covet. Both Hudson and Grace almost lost Jackson, but because Grace was able to save Flint with the power from Jackson. It was really hard to read and listen to Jackson dying and losing last breath, and it was hard to know that that was happening. And then whenever they get back to Catsmere Academy, everybody's gone, and they finally came to the realization that what they were doing on the beach there was a distraction for what they were actually doing, which was taking all the students and faculty at Catsmere. The only person that was left at Catsmere was Maurice, the vampire in the infirmary. So they were able to get some info off of her, and the unkillable beast is no longer locked away. And he gave Grace a crown on her hand. I'm still a little confused on what's on her hand. I guess it is the crown, but then she also promised to give the crown to the other gargoyle's mate, but you don't know who that is yet. And the last chapter is in Hudson's point of view, and he brings up needing to talk to Grace about her emerald green string. Grace has this emerald green string that was in her that got brought up in the last book, but never was mentioned ever again, and which was a little bit of a question. So I'm just glad that's getting brought back up, and so we might find some answers out in the next book, Court. But that's gonna be it for this video. I did finish this book, and I'm happy to say I absolutely love this, and I will be heading straight into the next book, so just be aware that is the next video that's gonna be coming out. I hope y'all are having an amazing day. If you're interested in any of my other videos on my thoughts and feelings about the other books I read, go check them out. It's a fun time. You and me are vibing together and getting my thoughts. So thank y'all so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Bye.